Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of the Exodus. We are in Exodus chapter 20, looking at the 10 Commandments. Now we've seen that the prologue to the commands reminds us that God is God. He says to the Israelites, I am the Lord. I am your God. I delivered you from slavery in Egypt. Now you're asking, how should a saved people live? These 10 words, these 10 commandments give you the guidance for how you live as my people, how you live as a saved nation. Commandment 1 is in verse 3 of chapter 20. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no other gods before me. In other words, as my people, your allegiance is solely to me. You shall not worship other gods or bow down to them or give your allegiance to them. Now, this was important for the Israelites. They had just come out of Egypt and they had seen for years all the gods, multiple gods, so-called gods that the Egyptians worshipped. Now, we've already demonstrated in the plagues, God had shown that he alone was God. He had judged the so-called gods of Egypt by the plagues. They were defeated. They were not gods. And so now the Lord reminds them, your loyalty is only to me. He understood they would be tempted to worship those other gods. As a matter of fact, very soon we're going to see the episode of the golden calf where they fall into that sin so quickly. So the very first command is, I am God. You are to worship no other. Now, of course, also when the Israelites go in to possess the promised land, the people they will dispossess, the Canaanites living there, worship many other gods. And the Israelites will be tempted over the years to worship them. This is why the commandment is first. The heart of being in covenant with me is I alone am God. You are to worship no other. Over the years, the Israelites will fall to the worship of Baal and other gods who present themselves, these so-called gods in Canaan. They need to be reminded of the first command, the first law, the first word. Your loyalty must be to me alone. For I alone am God. Do not fall into the worship of these so-called gods. Is that still a temptation for people today? Unfortunately, it is. Now, in our day, the temptation is not to worship false gods like Baal and Chemosh and Ra, those gods the Israelites faced. No. Our temptation is to worship other kinds of gods, to make other things the God of my life. For some people, the God of their life becomes their ambition. They worship their career path. That becomes the most important thing of all. For some people, the God of their life becomes the accumulation of wealth or of money. And to amass a vast amount of money becomes the very God they worship. For others, the God they worship is popularity, fame. They'll do anything to be accepted by others, to be esteemed by the crowds. That becomes their God. You see, anything we ascribe ultimate value to, or the ultimate goal of our life, becomes our God. So the Lord reminds us, you belong to me. I have redeemed you. I am your loyalty. I am your allegiance. You will not worship anything, any pursuit, any ambition, any goal, any person above me. Those are the other so-called gods who would claim your allegiance. But if you would live as a redeemed people, if you would live as a saved people, if you would live in response to the redemption I have provided for you, you will worship only me. So our worship is to God alone. Now, as Christians, of course, we realize that God has revealed himself to us in Jesus and has given to us the Holy Spirit. So we worship the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. He is God. He alone is God. We will worship no other. We will allow no other allegiance in our life to be above his. We will allow no other loyalty in our life to be above our loyalty to him. This is what faith means, that he alone is God. We shall have no other gods besides him. I will worship only the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, who has saved me and redeemed me. This is who we are as the people of God. I hope you have a great day today, and I'll see you next time as we look at the second commandment, the second word in our 5-minute Bible study in the book of the Exodus.